everyone, welcome to the Mama Elephant anniversary event. We are celebrating 8 years with Mama Elephant. Today we are going to share Toasty Friends, another gorgeous set illustrated by Ada Zamora. The set will be available on release day, which is September 15th. Y'all, this is one of my favorites in the release. I love these images. They're so adorable. I have two favorite images. I love the little doggy with the little marshmallow, and I loved coloring the little fireplace. I loved it. I also really like the sentiments that come with the set too. Here are the coordinating dies that go with Toasty Friends. So we're going to do a ton of watercoloring today. I've stamped out my images using the Gina K Designs Amalgam Ink in Chocolate Truffle. And the paper that I'm using is the Strathmore Ready Cut Watercolor 5x7. This is hot press. I'll be using the Arteza Real Brush markers to do the watercoloring. I also use one Zig Real Clean Color Brush marker in Blush. Blush is one of my favorites to color animals in the Zig. I thought I would start off the coloring by not speeding up the video and showing you the pace at which I color in real time. So this is not sped up at all, and this is the pace that I color. So really careful. I'm laying down the pigment, and wherever I put water, it doesn't, the marker doesn't work. So I kind of have to take the water off of the tip, and then now you see the color go on. So I go really slow when I do watercoloring. I like to be really careful. Sometimes I go outside of the lines, but I try not to. And then I'm very careful when I lay down the water and I spread the pigment out. I want it to be a very smooth blend. I love the ease at how these markers work because it's very easy. And then I like to work fast so the pigment is still wet and it's easy to spread out with the water. So I'm speeding it up now, but I do use a water brush, and I don't fill up the water brush because I'm afraid that I'm going to use too much water. So I do have a little bowl on the side where I have the water, and then I'll choose how much water that I want to use. Sometimes I use a lot if it's a bigger area, and then sometimes I'll use just a little bit if it's a tiny area. It just depends. But I do like the control of not filling up the water brush, and the water brush is easy for me to hold as opposed to a real brush. I'm not sure why. I also like the hardness of the brush tip also. I also think the type of paper you use for this technique is important because I was using different watercolor paper before and I didn't really like the results. And I do like this Strathmore paper that I'm using now. I love it. I also really like using the Bristol Smooth cardstock. I think that's also a great cardstock for this technique because it has a coating on it, and when you lay down your pigment, it kind of floats on top of that pigment, so you have more time to spread the pigment out. For the bunny that I'm coloring now, I'm using a Zig marker, and this is my favorite color of Zig marker. It is the blush color. It is like a brownie pink, and I think it's just perfect for the Ada Zamora images. I like how it's brown, but it also has a hint of pink, so it's kind of a cute color, if that makes any sense. But I do love that blush color a lot for coloring animal fur. Also, with this watercolor technique, I don't feel like I need to color every surface of the image because, for example, for this lamb here, I'm only doing just kind of like the shadows, and then I'm blending out that color far into the image where the pigment is almost nothing when it reaches the end of the image, just to create a shadow. And I love how easy it is to create shadows that way and not feeling the pressure of coloring the whole thing. that's very hard for me to do with Copic markers. I have to use like a really light color if I want to achieve that same kind of look. But I do like how I don't have to color the entire thing. I like how I can just put just a spot of color and then take that color all the way through to make a nice little shadow. I really liked coloring this pig, so I kind of outlined it with a circular shape, and then you kind of blend into the center of the head, and I try to keep like that center white so he looks round. So that's really easy to do too with these brush markers. So I'm coloring this little fireplace here, and I loved coloring it so much. I colored, that's why I have two cards today, because I wanted to color the little fireplace again because it was really fun to color. I don't know why, but it was. And I think I just liked the way it turned out, and I wanted to like do it again. So I colored two of these fireplaces. I had a lot of fun choosing, the colors. So I thought I would have like a wood top, and then I did a wood bottom, and then I just did shading underneath the mantle with like a charcoal color. And then for the brick around it, I chose kind of like a reddy brown, just to have that kind of brick look. I think this is autumn red, I believe. But I don't know. I had so much fun coloring this fireplace. It was crazy. And then I believe I'm just shading in the candles in just like a shadow color, like a charcoal type color. So I saw on the Mama Elephant Friends Facebook page that someone did this gorgeous watercolor background. I believe her name was Jocelyn. Hi, Jocelyn. And I just love that wash of color she had. Hers is better than mine. We tried. I think I shouldn't have done like direct to paper. I think I should have picked up the pigment off of an acrylic block, but I did my best. And the thing with watercolor is you don't know what it looks like until it dries. So here my paper bended quite a bit, so I did put it through my die cut machine in between a couple pieces of paper to iron it out. So I thought I would add a little interest with some black splatter. I think this is my Gansey Tambi black watercolor, and I'm just going to do some splatters. You cannot overthink splatters. It has to be random, which is, as you know, hard for me. And then you have to allow those splatters to dry because you do not want to smear. So as you can see, Rena went through great lengths to make sure the sentiment was exactly in the center of the card. I don't know why I obsessed with like it has to be in the center, but that's what I did. So I'm taking one of the sentiments from the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it out with the same ink that I inked out the images, which is the Gina K amalgam ink in chocolate truffle. Because I have used the whole stamp set syndrome, I am making a bigger card today. This is a 5x7 sized card. So once again, we are trying to put it directly in the middle. And once again, I don't know why I was so obsessed with doing it that way, but this is what we did. And now we are going to adhere their images. I just wanted to make this card just simple, and I just wanted to adhere the images to the front. I love that wash of color in the background. I think it adds a lot of interest with the splatters. And here's my favorite image, the marshmallow dog. Love him. And I really enjoyed coloring him too. It's just so easy to color him, and then that's why I colored it again like I did the fireplace. So that's how the second card came about. I knew I was going to be doing a lot of maneuvering, so I tried not to stick the images on hard, so in case I needed to peel them up, I would be able to do that. So I'm just putting it around the sentiment, around the fireplace. I'm trying to make sure that I have some sort of like an even sort of placement. I don't know. I feel like I like things to be symmetrical. So that's what I was trying to do there. And I should have cut out another rug, but I didn't. So the stamp set also comes with these cute little bubbles with hearts inside. So I wanted to use those up too. So I'm just adhering it directly to the card using art glitter glue. And then I had that extra sock image, and of course I had to use it, so we stuck it on the fireplace. So I'm putting lots of tape behind because my card is still a bit warped. So I'm just trying to even it out as best I can. And whenever I have a card that kind of warps because I used a heat gun or whatever, I always put it in between books before I photograph it so it's nice and flat. So we're going to make the second card. Here's that Wishes die cut. This is one of the promotional items for the release. And I wanted to experiment. So I've cut out that Wishes die cut using the same watercolor paper, and I adhered it on top of the card front. And then I'm putting the pigment on a block because I didn't want to do direct to paper like I did the last card. And then I'm doing the wash of color on top of the die cut because I wanted to just have like this sort of subtle sentiment, and I wanted the watercolor to kind of hide in the crevices of the die cut and stuff like that. So this was just an experiment, and I love the way it turned out. It looks a little crazy on camera, but in person it looks so good. You have to be careful. I used glue to adhere it down, and it was a little bit messy, but just make sure when you adhere it down that you are not making the glue kind of seep out the edges. So I'm stamping out the other sentiment from the stamp set. I love these sentiments. They match really perfectly with the images. So here's my favorite, the fireplace. And then I'm just going to use two images for this card. My favorite, the marshmallow dog. And then I'm also using the bunny, and I'm only putting glue on the side that doesn't touch the fireplace, so it doesn't have this like weird glue situation. So I just put it on the side where it doesn't touch the fireplace. And I needed to fill up some space, so I put the little dog bowl of food on top of the fireplace. And then I'm just going to mount the card onto a card base. I believe my card base is watercolor paper as well. And that's it. I'm calling those cards done. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys try watercoloring. It's so fun. It's one of those things that I never thought I would get into, and I'm so into it now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again tomorrow with another video. Stay safe and happy crafting. Bye, guys.